Hello YouTubers, tiny house people and gardeners everywhere. This is Chris in the Ozarks, and yes, it's still raining. So we're getting very little done, and when we do, we get wet. So just wanted to talk today though about something that I think is very important, and hopefully it will be useful. So we're going to talk about container gardening. And now container gardening can cover a wide spectrum of topics, and there's a lot of ways in which one can use containers, buckets, baskets, grow bags, you name it. I mean, there are so many gardening techniques out there today. You've got microscale farming at various levels of technology. You've got grow bag systems, you've got rain gutter grow systems, you've got mitt lighter gardening, back to Eden gardening, square foot gardening, raised bed gardening, hydroponics, aquaponics where you add the fish. You've got the Kratky method. There's so many things out there. If any of those don't sound familiar to you, just Google them or go to YouTube and you can find a load of information on all those. But what I wanted to talk today about specifically is gardening on the cheap, because I'm cheap. Most folks out there don't want to pay that much to garden. It's okay to have a nice system, set it up and get it going, but eventually it comes down to, if you're going to grow a $10 tomato or you're going to grow a $30 watermelon, then you might as well just go to the farmer's market or your local organic produce place and buy it there. That'll save yourself a whole lot of time and effort. But me personally, I want to grow very healthy vegetables. I want to know what's in it for sure, and I enjoy gardening. So if you're like me, then it's probably a great idea to find out how you can do these different things, whether it's container gardening or whatever the subject is, how to do it cheaper, how to do it inexpensively. So we're going to talk about some containers today. Now, we're going to do a little comparison, and you'll be able to see that here on the screen, because I want this to be very practical, down to earth, not just a bunch of hot air and theorizing, but actual practical information. So for the most part, if you're doing different systems, as I've done in the past and am doing now, for example, the rain gutter grow system, or if you're just growing in containers and other methods, then we need to compare these different ways of going, because there's different ways you can do each of these systems, these wonderful grow systems that we have now out there. Through the internet, we can learn about all these things. But if you'll look down here, of course, this is obviously a standard 5-gallon bucket. This one right here is obviously not food grade. It had detergent in it, dry detergent, but I use that really just to measure out ingredients to go into a potting mix. I don't really actually grow in this bucket. So a lot of people are very interested in food grade buckets. Some people are interested in non-food grade buckets. They don't really care. Either way, we're going to look at both of those. Another thing you can do is a basket. Now, this basket is, of course, obviously non-food grade, because it's designed to be a laundry basket, and obviously people are not eating out of a laundry basket. And we'll go over all the details on this as well. But that's approximately, and you can see here a comparison. When you look at them, you're probably looking at about the same amount. It's tapered a little bit more than the bucket at the bottom and wider at the top. So that's a possible growing container as well. Other growing containers that you can do, and I have right here in front of me. Now this one's folded flat and has handles, and it's only, I can't use this as a comparison in size because it's only a gallon grow bucket, or grow bag I should say. So it basically opens up when you put the soil in and forms when you put your wet potting mix into the bag. So you have all kinds of things that you can grow in bags, baskets, buckets. You can make your own if you really want to. Now, when we're talking about containers, though, there's more to it than just the actual initial cost of each container. There's also the longevity or the life of the container to take into account. So if you'll take a look at this other bucket I've got right here, you're going to notice something about it as we get closer. And that is, it's in pretty rough shape. And this is the case whether you use a food grade container or whether you use a non-food grade container, is that generally they are not UV treated. And if they were, they'd cost you a whole lot more. But what happens is this, after about 2 years, and I've used enough buckets, I should know, after about 2 years, it turns to junk. And, you know, nobody wants plastic floating around in their soil. And when you lift it up, if the whole thing just comes apart in your hands, then you've got a big mess on your hands. So how long a container lasts is very important. And we're going to look at that too here in just a moment in terms of bag years, bucket years, basket years, whatever the case may be. So that'll be important too. So with that little bit of background, let's just go ahead and look at some of the numbers and crank them out here and make some useful comparisons and make a decision as to how we want to proceed with container growing. Okay, folks, in this comparison, we're going to be looking at 5-gallon containers. And of course, the goal here is to container garden on the cheap. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to grow things, but if we're going to garden in containers, regardless of the system that we're using, we want those containers to be inexpensive and effective. So in this particular case, we're going to use 5-gallon containers. Obviously, buckets, baskets, and grow bags come in many different sizes, but we want to be able to do an apples to apples and oranges to oranges comparison here. So at every step along the way, we'll be drawing equivalents between these, and the first equivalent is going to be size. You can grow some things in 1-gallon containers, but for the most part, even 3 gallons, but for the most part, a 5-gallon container will handle pretty much any plant that you're going to grow. So we're going to start right there. Plus, the most common size of bucket is a 5-gallon bucket, so it makes it a little easier that way. So let's just move through this comparison. Now, what we're going to do first is look at plastic baskets, okay? Now, plastic baskets, obviously there's a lot of styles, colors, other considerations here. We're just going to talk about your mundane, regular white plastic basket, more or less a laundry basket, because laundry baskets are about the only ones that are big enough to be equivalent to a 5-gallon container. So now this is a non-food grade item. Like I said, we'll be looking at some food grade items and non-food grade items for those that's really important to. This basket does have handles. Quite frankly, these baskets are not UV treated for the most part, and I've had experience with non-UV treated items, buckets and so forth outside. I can guarantee you this basket will last about 1 year under good conditions. And for the most part, you're going to have it in full sunlight because that's what most plants require in order to produce during the season. And since a lot of these containers come in quantities or bundles of 10s, what I'm going to do is just compare 10. So basically, these baskets are $1 a piece. And you can get these baskets at Walmart, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, just to name a few. If you live in another country or another area, you might have other sources for those, and you might not have these. But the baskets are pretty similar. The Walmart basket is slightly better quality in terms of the thickness of the plastic. But the nice thing about the Dollar General and the Dollar Tree baskets were the ones that I saw, and a couple that I purchased. They have basically holes all the way around them, not only along the sides but on the bottom. The Walmart basket did not have holes in the bottom, so you would have to drill holes in the bottom to get really good drainage. But basically, you're looking at $1 per year per basket. Okay, so in other words, the basket cost you $1, but you're going to have to replace it every year. So every year, for every basket, you're going to have to buy a new one. So it's $1 per year per basket. So it's kind of a direct comparison. Now, there is, like I said, additional time, effort, and cost in this basket because you may have to drill the holes in the bottom depending on how your basket is manufactured. And number two is you're going to have to buy and cut landscape fabric to line the basket with. Now, that's not a huge amount of additional cost and effort, but it is there, so I'm going to list it. Now, the next thing on the comparison is a construction grade bucket, a 5-gallon construction grade bucket with handles, and by the handle we just mean the swinging handle that it normally comes with. And basically these buckets, and I've had experience with these in both greenhouses and outdoors in direct sunlight, and you get about 2 years out of one of these buckets. They're not UV treated, but the plastic's kind of heavy, and as I showed you earlier in the video presentation, the buckets basically turn to junk after about 2 years on average. So if you got a quantity of 10 of those, and basically they sell for about $3. I didn't put down any shipping costs for either the basket or these buckets because that's kind of built into the price. And these are available from Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, many different places, many big box stores. Okay, this is a non-food grade bucket. That's what a construction grade bucket is. And so you basically would be spending $3 per bucket, but the bucket lasts about 2 years, so it's really $1.50 per year per bucket. Okay, so you can go 2 years without replacing that. So it's better than the basket in those terms. Okay, although the actual comparative price there on the right hand side is still cheaper for the basket than it is for the bucket. All right, now there is additional time, effort, and cost cutting holes and lining them with landscape fabric. Now, landscape fabric is pretty easy and cheap to get, and it's easy to line things with. But if you're going to use a bucket and cut all these holes, any of you that have done that already, I've done it a few times. If you're going to cut, say 20 holes or 30 holes in a bucket, and you're going to do, 10 buckets, 20 buckets, 30 buckets, I don't know how many buckets you'll do, but that's a lot of holes to drill. And so there is quite a bit of additional time and effort into cutting holes into buckets. All right. So that is a direct comparison between the basket and the bucket. Neither one of those are food grade. Now also we can do food grade buckets with handles. The only difference here between this bucket and the previous bucket is the fact that it's food grade and it's more expensive. So typically I found that these buckets run about $5 if you're buying them. Now, yes, I know a lot of people are getting these buckets for free, and that's great. If you can get any of this stuff for free, that's always preferred. But depending on where you live and how far a drive it is to places that use these buckets, places like restaurants, food services, caterers, places like this, it may or may not be feasible for you. Plus, if you're doing 20, 30, 40 buckets or something like that, you may not be able to get that many buckets because these restaurants just don't go through that many pickles. All right. So what I'm doing here is just showing you comparative costs if you actually had to purchase these items. Okay. Now, in this particular case, of course, the price is $5 per bucket, and that works out to $2.50 per year per bucket, because these buckets also would be expected to last about 2 years, because they're not UV treated, they're just food grade plastic material. And these are available at select big box stores. Now, you'll have to check if you're going to purchase these, you'll have to check and see whether the stores in your area actually carry the food grade bucket. Some of them do, but they don't always. They are available online from most of the big box stores, but again, you'd have to pay shipping costs then most likely to bring those in. And of course,
you still have to cut all the holes and landscape fabric line the buckets. So there's additional time and cost and effort on your part to use buckets over baskets. All right. And then, of course, finally, we have the fabric grow bag. And now the 5-gallon ones typically have handles on them to help you to lift and move the bags around if that's necessary. The nice part about the grow bags is they last 3 to 4 years. You can even get 4 to 5 years, perhaps even more life out of some of these bags. Some of them are rated for a little bit longer life. But this is just comparing the 3 to 4 year grow bag, and assuming it only lasts 3 years, I believe these bags will last a lot longer than that. They also come bundled in 10, and if you buy these from the Grow Bag Garden Systems, and that's online, that's growbaggardensystems.com. They are $22.10 with shipping. Now, I put down my shipping cost. Your shipping cost is going to vary, so I'm not promising you can get it at this shipping price. I live about 3 states away from Minnesota, where Grow Bag Garden Systems is located. And so I just put my shipping in here for comparative purposes. Yours could be higher. It might be lower. Plus, keep in mind that that's the shipping cost that I paid for a bundle of 10. When you order more, your shipping cost doesn't go up proportionately. It gets cheaper per item that you order. So your shipping costs can also be modified and mitigated to a large extent that way. Also, sometimes Grow Bag Garden Systems will have some free shipping offers, so you might want to take advantage of that when those happen. But in this particular case, it works out to $3.10 per bag, but the bags last 3 years, and you can wash these and reuse them quite easily. So it works out to $1.03 per year per bag. Okay, that's pretty good. But in addition, there is no additional time, effort, and cost in terms of cutting holes. Okay, if you're using a system where you just let the bag sit in a pool of water, like the kiddie pool system or some kind of modified grow box where it's sitting in a pool of water. Yes, you would have to put a net cup in if you're putting it in a rain gutter, for example. But for the most part, you don't have to do that. I mean, that's your choice, and there's really no extra time and effort as compared to buckets and baskets. You don't have to drill holes in the sides of them. You don't have to line them with fabric because they are fabric. So that makes them really, really convenient. So as you can see, if you look down the right-hand column, you have $1 per year per basket. That's pretty good. $1.50 per year per basket or per bucket on the construction bucket, $2.50 per year per bucket on the food grade bucket. All these are not real expensive options, right? I mean, they're all pretty reasonable. But really, if you look at the grow bag and the amount of convenience that you have and how quick it is to fix one of these versus the other, you also don't have to replace it as often. There's inconvenience in having to replace something. You have to reorder it or go buy it again and substitute it out swap it out for what you had before. So really, in the final analysis, I have to tell you, I think the winner here is the Grow Bag Garden Systems. Why Grow Bag Garden Systems? Well, Larry Hall's growbaggardensystems.com website is by far the best place you can go to buy your grow bags. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, I haven't found any place online or off that has better prices on grow bags. It's just that simple. But more than that, you get personal service from a real person. Larry's been doing this for years. He knows all about growing in garden bags and many other containers. But there's not too many places where you can just ring him up and talk to the president or CEO of a company, like most of the companies you would go to buy grow bags or other growing supplies. Third, as I kind of mentioned before, he has expertise on growing in bags and other containers. He is the inventor of the rain gutter grow system, has done many modifications on, has grown in buckets, he's grown in bags, he's grown just about everything you can possibly think of, and he knows his stuff. So you're not just talking to somebody in a cubicle somewhere with a headset on when you need to get customer service from Larry Hall. And of course, really, number 4 is probably the most important to me, payback. You see, Larry's been helping people for many years, personally helping people grow better gardens. And he's really just a great guy who's always friendly, always wants to help everybody out. And quite frankly, one of the reasons he has the best prices on the internet or off the internet for grow bags is because Larry's just not out to make a buck off of everybody. So these are just some of the great reasons why you should go to growbaggardensystems.com and get your grow bags from Larry Hall. Now, I've already shown that grow bags are really, I think, hands down, the best way to go. Now, I grow with other things as well. I've got buckets out there right now. I've got baskets. I try just about everything because I like to experiment as well. And I like to gain the knowledge, and I just enjoy gardening. But let's go ahead at this point and just talk about what Larry has on his site, because and he has hundreds of products, okay, but we're looking at the grow bags today, at his containers today. So what we're going to do here in this comparison is to show what he has in the way of the most popular and most useful sizes, the typical sizes that you're going to want to look at for your grow bag systems. First of all, he has 1 gallon 4 to 5 year fabric grow bags. Now, these don't have handles. I kind of like the little ones that don't have the handles because they're very inexpensive. This, though, is a 4 to 5 year grow bag. It comes in a quantity of 25, and at the time of this publishing of this video, the price is $22. But 25 bundle at $22 for 1 gallon grow bags works out to only 88 cents a bag. And conservatively, these 4 to 5 year grow bags will last you 4 years. That's only 22 cents per year per bag. And this size, this 1 gallon size, is really ideal for growing lettuce and other greens. You can grow peppers and other things. You might want to go a little larger for some of your typical garden crops. Also, the next popular size up would be a 3 gallon size. And in this case, this is a 3 to 4 year grow bag with handles, kind of a neat item. You can get them in quantities of 10, and they're $16.99 plus the shipping. That's only $1.70 a bag. And these are really good for growing peppers. This is kind of the perfect size, I think, for growing both your hot and sweet peppers. And then there is the 5 gallon bag, which we looked at before. It's a 3 to 4 year fabric grow bag with handles. And at $22.10 plus your shipping, the quantity of 10, that's $2.21 a bag, or 74 cents per year per bag based on 3 years. And this is really that great size for raising tomatoes. You can do corn it, you can do potatoes in it, you can do just about anything in a 5 gallon container, as most of you who have grown in 5 gallon buckets know. So this is really the reason why I think this is the best way to go. Now, here's a competitor. And I'm not dissing this company at all. They're a great company. They have quality products. They are a very reputable company. We get their catalog all the time. Very, very big company. However, when it comes to grow bags, let me suggest that they might just be a little on the high side. $16.95 for 1 bag, and you can see what I've got circled here in red. It's a 5 gallon grow bag. Now, yes, maybe you need to have fashion colors. You just gotta have fashion colors. Well, Larry's got fashion colors too, and his are only just a fraction more than what they are for the regular charcoal gray color. They're not $16.95, let me tell you that. So, just as a point of comparison, Larry's got great prices. So there you go, a 5-gallon bag. What do you want to pay? $2.21 for a bag or $16.95 for a bag? Choice is yours, but I haven't found any other competitors out there that have prices quite like Larry's. Okay, so go on over to growbaggardensystems.com and check out the website. Do your own shopping, do your own comparisons. He's got a lot of other great products too. It's just a great website. So I just wanted to let you know what I've found out there as far as not only what works and how they compare to each other, but where the best price is on what I think is the best overall option. If you don't like drilling a lot of holes, if you don't want to, have a whole lot of mess with extra landscape fabric, the grow bag is the way to go.
Just thought I'd finish off this video with a quick shot of some tomatoes planted in our baskets in a pool system. There's also a few 1-gallon bags there you can see down below, staying moist, waiting for our lettuce to germinate that we're going to transplant into those 1-gallon grow bags. So they're just kind of there in stasis, if you will, kind of waiting for that to happen. And also, if you look over here, you can see we also have a lot of grow bags. These are 3-gallon grow bags with tomatoes in them, and we got those from Grow Bag Garden Systems. So get over to Larry Hall's site, growbaggardensystems.com, and see the great prices he's got over there. Hope this has been helpful, and we'll have a video up shortly on this conversion that we did from a regular bed to a kiddie pool rain gutter grow system type bed, where we are using these grow bags.